Imagine this. You're 11 years old and you've just started 6th grade. Your parents recently got you your first phone and so you're already starting to feel like a real middle schooler. While you're still not allowed to have social media, you've discovered something intriguing. A site known as FanFiction Dot Net, where people can post fanfics of their favorite fictional works. Clearly, you should be allowed to post your brilliant new story on FanFiction Dot Net. If your parents actually agree, though they forbid you from reading anything rated teen and up until you're 13. With your parents' permission gained, you make an account and set about posting your warriorcats fanfic chapter by chapter as you write it. The story is called Burning Bright. Now, I think it's about time that I switch out of this weird second-person scenario and talk about myself as well, myself. I thought that my idea was amazing, but nowadays Burning Bright has become an old shame for me, one that I'd like to make fun of. The story is about a prophecy, of course, because there's always a prophecy, and it gets misinterpreted because this is warrior cats we're talking about. This misinterpretation brings major consequences to the kids involved and eventually to all of Shadow Clan. The story is still up on fanfiction.net, so I opened it up and skimmed through it in order to jog my memory. It didn't take long since each chapter was usually much less than even 1,000 words long, and there were 22 chapters, bringing the story to about 19,000 words in total. By the way, if you're expecting an ending, there isn't one. I never finished Burning Bright, and I struggle with finishing things to this day, but when we get to that point, I'll tell you what the planned ending was. The prologue, there always has to be a prologue, opens with Rainstorm, Shadow Clan's medicine cat, having a nightmare in which he falls into darkness and is burned by light. He then hears a disembodied voice whisper the prophecy to him. As Leafbear dies, two will come, one with the power to save the clans, the other with the power to destroy them. Rainstorm wakes up in his den, ponders the prophecy for a moment, and then realizes that it's most likely referring to Moontail's kids, who will be born around the end of Leafbear. Then we have the allegiances. For whatever reason, I set the story around the time Mapleshade was born, and I tried to include some of the characters from the allegiances of Mapleshade's vengeance. I also tried to include Shredtail, Snowtuft, and Sparrowfeather, and show what they did to get into the Dark Forest. This was written in 2016 before we got a look at their actual canonical backstories. The story ended before I really did anything with them though, so I won't be mentioning them after this. Oh, and in the tradition of the Aaron Hunters, I got several cats' genders wrong. Oopsie, I won't go through the whole allegiances thing, especially since a lot of cats are irrelevant. Instead, I'll just introduce the characters as they appear. The next chapter covers the birth of Moontail's kids because it's not a warrior's fic without a dramatic, unrealistic kidding scene. Hazelthorn, the father, yells that the kids are coming, and so Rainstorm and Cream Whisker run into the nursery. Cream Whisker is also a medicine cat, but she ranks lower than Rainstorm because she used to be a loner. Moontail is in quite a bit of pain, but she's also excited to have the kid who will save the clans, and to be remembered as their mother. Two kids come out, and then Moontail's fur starts to glow, and she screams that she's burning as the third one is born. Not suspicious at all. Hazelthorn names the white kit Bright Kit and the black kit Dark Kit, but Cream Whisker has to prompt the parents to name the third kit. Moontail names her Brown Kit because she's very creative. I came up with the idea for Brown Kit when I read one of those How to Write Warriors fanfiction guides, and it said that nobody has ever named the hero of their story Brown Fur. I guess I took that as a challenge. As the medicine cats are walking out, Cream Whisker realizes that, oh yeah, one of these newborn kids has destructive powers, and she decides to make sure that that kid has a normal childhood and never has any reason to even want to destroy the clans. Yeah, that doesn't go too well. Basically, after the kids are born, everyone ignores the warning signs, you know, the burning light in Rainstorm's dream and the fact that Bright Kit burned Moontail on the way out. And they all come to the conclusion that Bright Kit is the one with the power to save the clans, since she has these cool violet eyes, and Dark Kit is the one with the power to destroy the clans, since, he's black. Brown Kit is just treated like a normal kid. Now, because of the powers these kids have, their clanmates work hard to treat them both with respect, not place impossible expectations on them, and generally make sure they grow up well adjusted. Oh, who am I kidding? We all know that's not how these kinds of fics work. Instead, most of Shadow Clan idolizes Bright Kit and treats Dark Kit like garbage. Cream Whisker tries to get the other kids to play with Dark Kit as part of her "don't make the guy who could kill you into a pariah" thing, but Bright Kit and Dark Kit don't really like each other, and the two other kids in the nursery, Dawn Kit and Red Kit, are told by their mother that they're not allowed to play with or even talk to Dark Kit. To rub it in further, the one delivering that news to Dark Kit is Bright Kit, who's all like, why is he glaring at me? He should be lucky he's even allowed in the clan. In one early chapter, Dark Kit tries to take a shrew from the fresh kill pile, but two cats yell at him to leave it for someone who, quote-unquote, really earned it. To be fair, according to the previous chapter, he had just eaten a mouse, but I guess little me didn't remember that. Anyway, these two cats are Houndfang and his son Slowpaw. Hanfang is the senior warrior and he's the leader's brother and Rainstorm's cousin. Slowpaw is Rainstorm's apprentice. They both hate Darkkit, and Darkkit gets fed up with their bullshit and snaps at Slowpaw, rightfully pointing out that Ellers and Kiss are supposed to eat first, and also accusing him of just sitting around and camp being useless all day. Hanfang and Slowpaw respond to this by beating him up. Damn. This doesn't last long before the fight gets broken up, and I'd like to point out that, probably without really realizing the implications, Little Me had Cream Whisker, the junior medicine cat, be the one to drag Hanfang away. Now I'm just gonna imagine her as this sewer buff badass. Slowpaw, on the other hand, is dragged off by Ice Star, the aforementioned leader of Shadow Clan, who says Slowpaw will be the last to take prey from the pile until further notice, then makes Hanfang go to her den so she can lecture him. Ice Star is generally reasonable, but in terms of the awful treatment Darkkit is enduring, she's like an elementary school teacher. She'll intervene if it gets physical, if she's there to see it, which is rare, but she doesn't really do anything about the verbal abuse and pervasive hatred that's festering in the cats around him. She doesn't take any action to prevent further abuse either. Sometime later, Dawnkit and Redkit become apprentices. Hanfang immediately ruins the ceremony by insisting that Brightkit should also become an apprentice, despite it being a moon too early, because Brightkit needs as much training as she can get if she's gonna be the clan's savior or whatever. Cream Whisker once again proves to be the only character with common sense and points out that they don't actually know if Brightkit is the prophesized savior, and then Slowpaw immediately dismisses this on the evidence of Cream Whisker not being clan-born. Yeah. Darkkit charges at Slowpaw, and only Ice Star dispersing the gathered cats prevents another fight from breaking out. Throughout the following days, Hanfang and a bunch of like-minded cats who Brownkit refers to as the Brightkit worshippers go against Ice Star to teach Brightkit hunting and battle skills anyway. Brownkit notices that Moontail and Hazelthorn, the kid's parents, are in this group. So yeah, 6 chapters in and Darkkit is already getting basically disowned. Brownkit tries to learn as well by imitating Brightkit's lessons, but she can't get the moves right, and nobody helps her because she's oh so boring and brown and not special, and so she's always forgotten about, and not even this is good enough for Hanfang, because he picks Darkkit up and throws him across the camp for the crime of coming within 12 feet of Brightkit. I don't really know. This makes Brownkit finally snap, claw Hanfang, and run to the nursery. And if you're wondering what the fallout of that was, you're out of luck because the next chapter skips forward a moon to the siblings' apprentice ceremony. Of course, there's drama there as well. See, there's a group of cats who don't want Darkkit to be made an apprentice. One of them, an elder named Sunshade, says, and I'm imagining this in the most dramatic, hammy way possible, "You can't possibly be making that thing an apprentice." And then Dawnpaw, who incidentally is his granddaughter, snaps back, "Oh, so now you're afraid that Darkkit's gonna scratch your sorry face for what you did to him as a kid?" Though this story absolutely sucks, I'm glad that my little self gave Darkkit more than one supporter. Makes me cringe a wee bit less than if Green Whisker had been the only one who ever helped him, while the entire rest of the clan abused him for gratuitous drama. Instead, it's more like there's a faction that hates Darkkit, a small faction that supports him at least a little, and then the undecided or apathetic cats. Anyway, Ice Star calms the crowd and the ceremony goes on. Brownkit is apprenticed to a warrior named Cinderclaw. Briefly, Ice Star makes eye contact with Brownpaw and something special happens. Ice Star appears to flinch while Brownpaw's face burns. But that's all described in one sentence, so it can't matter that much, can it? After all, Brownpaw is brown, and that clearly makes her boring and not special. Brightkit, meanwhile, is having a totally normal internal monologue, something like, "Ice Star would be a fool not to give me a Houndfang as a mentor, but I mean, she's making Darkkit an apprentice, so I guess she is a fool. So maybe she'll mentor me herself." Ice Star makes Outerstrike, the deputy, Brightkit's mentor. What? Only the deputy? If Houndfang wasn't an option, the clan leader would be the next best option, but no, I get the leader's second in command? But I'm special! Ice Star is a fool, and one day the whole clan's gonna know it. Note to little me, not that she can hear this, fool has gotta be one of the least intimidating things you can call someone. Just because all those classic Disney villains go around calling everyone fools doesn't mean the villain of your story has to do that too. It's a tired old cliche. Actually, Outerstrike does turn out to be a terrible mentor, but not in the way Brightkit expected, and little me would have disagreed out of ignorance. More on that in a later part. But I do agree that Ice Star is, to put it like Brightkit said, a fool. She's gonna prove it in just a moment. Darkkit is last. As he approaches the clan rock, he sees that Cream Whisker looks sad. Why could she possibly be? Your mentor will be Houndfang. Understandably, Darkpaw freaks out and runs. He keeps running and running through the clan's territory, gets chased by a fox for a bit, runs some more, hides under a bush, and promptly passes out. Houndfang and Outerstrike find him a little while later. Houndfang tells Darkpaw that Ice Star and Cream Whisker had a discussion and decided that he should mentor Darkpaw to make him see that he was a normal kitty cat and not the spawn of Satan's seventh shit. Houndfang immediately adds that he's probably going to discover that Darkpaw is even worse than a satanic shit spawn, and then he tells Darkpaw that when they get back to camp, he'll have to do the Elder's ticks and change everyone's bedding except for his own. Houndfang also gives Darkpaw a long scripted apology to recite to every single cat in the camp. Darkpaw reluctantly goes back with him, having realized that he doesn't actually know how to hunt or survive on his own. Strike is still here, by the way, watching the whole interaction and saying nothing. What a swell guy. Darkpaw is understandably still pissed at Cream Whisker for putting him with the cat who has been constantly abusing him his whole short life, so he just recites the apology to her in a deadpan, grabs a mouse pile to tick the elders, and leaves. To be honest, I'm mad at her too. Cream Whisker, I'm stripping you of your only one with common sense badge. Go think about what you've done. In the Elder's Den, Sunshade is pissy as usual, but Owlberry is supportive of Darkpaw and shuts her mate up. Dawnpaw decides to forget her mother's rule and help Darkpaw change everyone's bedding. Chapter 8 ends with Darkpaw feeling a little better, like maybe things won't be so bad if he has a friend like Dawnpaw by his side. Oh, Darkpaw, you're not even halfway out of the woods. So, 8 chapters in, what have we learned? No response? In that case, how about a pop quiz? The correct answers are, I don't care, this is a dumb joke, and just tell the damn story, Alloon. Well, too bad. As I was writing the script for this, I noticed that it was getting long, but I didn't want to take out any jokes, so I decided to split it into 3 shorter, more manageable parts. Besides, this video was made to celebrate me getting to 100 subs and was decided via fan vote, so I didn't want to keep them waiting too long. Part 2 will come out when it's done. Till then, tell me your thoughts. What do you think of this style of video? Storytime stuff like this is new to me, so I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. Speaking of story, where do you think this asinine plot is heading? Feel free to take a guess because things are gonna get even dumber in the second part. And do you have any embarrassing first fanfic stories of your own? Feel free to share them down in the comment section. And keep an eye out for...